Hello. Uh, I am not very sure how to start this, but I guess I could start with a simple introduction. I am solcopper. I am just a shy nerd who likes making stories, and for the past year I have been working on a webcomic. I originally wanted to do one video a month talking about my progress on it, but as you might be able to tell from looking at my channel, that didn't end up happening. I would either just procrastinate a lot or get too nervous about the quality of the videos. Making videos is something I've had no experience with before, so I end up second-guessing myself a lot more. However, since the 1-year anniversary of my webcomic was in December of 2024, I wanted to do something special. So I thought I could take all the scripts I wrote, take the most important parts of each of them, basically make a big video about the overall process that this past year has been. So let's start with talking about how I started outlining and preparing the comic. Like probably a lot of authors, I have had a lot of story ideas in my head ever since I was a kid. However, a lot of those story ideas would be a bit too long to turn into a webcomic, especially with a team that is literally only me. So while I did want to try making a webcomic, I also knew it would be a bit too much to go straight into a format I had never tried before with a story that is too long. So I started working on outlining a story that would be only 1 chapter long. I allowed myself to add elements that would only be expanded on in a potential continuation, but the goal was to get only 1 chapter done. You could say it's intended to be a sort of pilot. I eventually settled for a story concept I thought would be fun for me to do, and I started working on a written outline. My outline is mostly a bit-by-bit summary of everything. I had it written in a specific dialogue lines in that outline because I thought it'd be a way to still have some wiggle room with stuff once I got to drawing the pages. And while I was writing that, I was also working on the character designs for the main characters. After I was done with that written outline, I started doing a page outline, which basically means I started thumbnailing what each page of the comic would look like in terms of paneling and general positioning of the characters in those panels. That page outline ended up at about 130 pages. I'll be honest that I actually struggled quite a bit with this page outline. I think it was partly because even though I did regularly analyze the paneling structure of other comics and manga I like, it is still a format I am not used to. And on top of that, when it comes to art, I think that sketching is the part that feels the most mentally demanding to me. Because after I'm done with sketching, all the other steps to me are basically just building upon the base the sketch created, so it's easier to just turn my brain off and go with the flow on those steps. The written outline took me about 2 months, the character designs were settled in about 2 weeks, and the page outline was done in about 5 months. So overall, that is a little more than half a year of just preparing stuff before drawing the actual pages. And when I include the breaks I took in between different points of the process, and also honestly the fact that I procrastinated for a while on the page outline, it was almost a whole year between me first starting the planning for this project and starting to draw the first page. As for how it went once I started drawing the pages, it was honestly pretty mixed. The first month of getting the first batch of pages done, I was in a not so great mood. I was trying to finish up the batch's last few pages in December, a month that usually makes me feel kinda anxious in general. And on top of that, I was having a lot of sleeping problems that I think were mostly due to anxiety from knowing I was gonna start putting this project out there. Those sleeping and anxiety problems ended up being a problem throughout the rest of the comic at different points as well. It wasn't all bad though. As much as I do often have my periods where I feel like crap and just don't want to do anything, I did often feel better after taking a break. And as much as I feel self-conscious about putting my art out there like this when I am not super confident in it, at the end of the day it's better to try and fail than to regret never trying. And on top of that, working on this comic has often made me draw stuff that I wouldn't usually be drawing, and that has to count for something, right? Heck, there was one period of time where I think a big reason why I was feeling so tired with it was exactly that I was drawing a lot of backgrounds and background characters for some specific pages. At the end of the day, even though it has been a lot of work, I am enjoying it enough for me to not want to drop it. I didn't finish as many pages in 2024 as I wish I had, as I had originally hoped to finish at least 50, but finishing about 32 pages the whole year is probably still pretty good for someone who had never done a webcomic before, right? At least it's more than half of the pages I wanted to finish for the year. I don't like specific parts of the process too. And I will use the page outline file I have as basically a way to help me visualize my progress, doing green scribbles over the thumbnails of finished pages, and that does sort of help me with the looking at what I have already done rather than what is still left aspect of motivation. I like some of the aesthetic aspects I ended up doing for it too, like having the characters who have magical powers have colored speech bubbles and different colors in their eyes, or having the protagonist's original world be all in black and white while the world that has magical boys is all colored. I like that I managed to find a way to simplify my art process enough to make it feel like it's actually possible to finish this comic. And at the end of the day, I do like having something like it to work on often, always having something to do rather than being stuck wondering what the hell I'm gonna do or drawing a given day. You might have noticed I haven't talked much about the story itself, and that's because, well, I actually consider myself a writer first, visual artist second. And I think that might be why I am feeling a lot more self-conscious of the story itself than everything else. Considering I am self-conscious of the art, well, you can guess what that implies. It's like, even though I am pretty happy with the story I ended up settling on, as something that is meant to be somewhat simple while still having plenty to expand on later if I wish, the possibility of being judged for my writing / overall storytelling abilities feels a lot more scary. Some bits of it are kinda cliche, especially in the beginning where the protagonist literally gets isekai'd by a truck. I'll admit that my reasons for making this a reincarnation story are very much self-indulgent. It was the idea of just having someone who is unhappy with their life suddenly be thrown in a road where they feel much better about things. And on top of that, I did want to play into the fantasy of becoming a boy without the baggage of having everyone around you have known you as a girl your whole life, but still having those memories as a way to compare past and current feelings. I have no idea how many people will watch this, especially since I am admittedly terrible at marketing myself, but if you've made it this far, thank you for listening to me just ramble about this. As I said in the beginning of the video, I just wanted to try doing something special for this comic's anniversary. I can't promise there will be new videos with any sort of frequency, especially considering I did have plans for frequent monthly videos before that ended up just getting very summarized in this video. But I might try streaming from time to time. I'm probably not gonna have much of a consistent schedule since I live with people who don't have a very consistent schedule either. And I am also gonna dedicate a decent bit of time this year to studying for a college admission exam. But I wanna give it a try either way, and I might do streams where I drop pages for this comic. So no promises, but if you're interested, the subscribe button is right there. I think that is everything I wanted to say. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you can bear with me a little longer.